All right, what's up, familia? Welcome inside the big rig. Hope you guys are doing good. Keep in between the lines. Got your load secure. All right, so Cesar Chavez, right? Now, we went ahead and did the roundtable on this subject and talked about it for, gosh, almost like 2 hours, right? But that was with like a full panel and everybody's thoughts and opinions. And maybe some people are, going to sit down and watch 2 hours of just people going back and forth about it. So I thought I'd go ahead and make this video right here and just give my personal thoughts on it. So, okay, listen, I don't speak for everybody from SoCal, okay? From Southern California. I do not speak for everybody from Southern California. But I'm telling you guys this straight out, man. Cesar Chavez and that whole movement growing up in the 80s and 90s, look, Holmes, I never heard about it. I didn't know who he was. I didn't care about it. Nothing. I never heard, no matter where I moved, no matter where I lived, all over SoCal, man. From Southgate, San Bernardino, Fontana, Ontario, East Los, Montebello, Rancho Cucamonga, Upland, Baldwin Park. Heck, I'm probably missing a city or two. I moved around a lot. We moved around a lot. Never once heard about it. Didn't see a picture of him kicking it with so many people in all these different cities and towns that I went through growing up, going over to people's homes and everything. I never saw a picture of him or nothing. I'm talking about like in somebody's house. Never saw a picture of him. Never heard anybody's family members bring it up. My family is from Jalisco, from Guadalajara, right? So when they came here, they never worked the fields. They never went to Central or Northern California. They worked in warehousing and cleaning houses and, maintenance, and got into the trucking industry, and boom, here I am, right? So, to be real with you guys, man, my whole youth, I never heard of the dude. I had zero knowledge of any of it. Being on YouTube and linking up with a couple of other people, they tell me just how big it was for them, in their area, in their home and everything. And I'm sure, I'm going to get to the accusations in just a second, but I just want to be clear on where I stand with Cesar Chavez, which is really nowhere because I had no knowledge of this guy growing up. It was just a few years ago that I actually started hearing a little bit more about it. And, the whole Huelga bird thing, the first time I ever saw that image was really when it was gang related with the gangs up in Northern California that had appropriated that. But in all reality, I had no knowledge of this growing up when I was a little kid, my teens, heck, 20s. I mean, in my 20s, I think it was probably like later on in my 20s where I first started, heard a little something about it that I didn't even really care. But yeah, Holmes, it was nothing. And I'm sure the reason why I say I don't speak for everybody in SoCal, because I'm sure somebody that's watching this is saying like, oh man, I got no idea what you're talking about. It was huge to me and my family and everyone around me, and everywhere I went, I saw it. That's fine. Cool. I'm saying in my experience, gosh darn it, dog. If it weren't for social media, I probably would have gone my entire life without ever hearing about it or hearing about him. Like, yeah, is there murals in East Los and all that stuff? And yeah, but look, to be honest, and again, I'm just speaking about my experience, Holmes, okay? It's just a wall with murals. I never saw or heard anybody say like, hey, come here, let me teach you who every person on this mural is. It's just, everyday life, man. It's like, it's kind of like people that, live in middle America that come visit California, and everything in California, is the beach and the Hollywood sign and, and all that stuff, right? And, people that live here, it's like, I'm not going to the beach every day or every weekend or anything like that. Now, there are some people like that, very, very few. We just wake up and it's like, okay, it's just murals on the wall. Ain't nobody, at least for me in my experience, like I said, I'm sure you can find people that are going to disagree with me, that are saying like, dude, I knew all about it. It was, all throughout my childhood. I knew everything on the mules. I knew everything about it. Again, cool, dog. But for me, it meant absolutely nothing because I had no knowledge of it. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I'm just probably the only one that's willing to admit it. So now there's accusations, right? Now, when I first started hearing about Cesar Chavez and getting a little bit deeper into his story, was actually me on being on YouTube just a few years ago, right? Met a good friend of mine who's from the San Jose area, he teaches Chicano history. Started hearing a little bit more about it, and then I started seeing that some people hated the guy and some people loved the guy. And then some people are kind of like in the middle, kind of like, he did a lot of good, but then he had a little bit of this bad side as well. He used to get in the pickup trucks and go beat up all these paisas and everything, man, all the Mexicanos. If anybody's triggered by the word paisa, oh well, man. But, he used to beat them all up because they were undercutting his work. He was trying to get better pay and better work conditions for everybody, so they would go on strike, and then they would bring all the Mexicanos, all the paisas to come undercut them, and so he would have to physically take them out, and he used to turn wet back and all that stuff. And it was a different time. It was the 60s. To be honest with you guys, Holmes, to be honest with you guys, when it comes to all that, I really don't care. I honestly really don't care what he did. I don't care one way or the other. Like I said, I got no allegiance or feelings towards this dude one way or the other, man, because I really didn't know about this guy. Some people love him, some people hate him, okay? Now, with these accusations that came down, okay, so unfortunately, the child molestation, child rape is falling on deaf ears. And that's the sad thing about all this, right? Now, I've shared my story, and I'm not going to make this about me because so many people make it about themselves. But it's just a sad situation because somebody else came out and said that they were raped by him, Dolores. She comes out and says that she was raped by him, which unfortunately takes away the story from the ladies that said that they were raped by him when they were young girls, 12 or 13 years old or something of that sort, right? Because now everybody is focused on Dolores' story. And I don't hear anybody speaking about, hey, do you think he raped those young girls? No, the story is, do you think she's telling the truth? Do you think he raped Dolores? It's like, wait a second, man. What about these young little girls? Of course, they're in their 60s today. What about these young little girls? Why is everybody just ignoring their story because Dolores is a much high-profile figure? She said that she was raped by him, and everybody is focusing over there. She was a grown adult. We'll get to that in a second. But, these young girls, which they're not young girls anymore, they came out and they said that they were raped by him. Okay. For one, I'm not even really sure why New York Times, whomever it was, I'm not even really sure what they were investigating or why they were even investigating any of this. Apparently, from what I understand, it didn't start them investigating the sexual assault stuff. It was them investigating the organization or whatever it may be. For whatever reason, I don't know. But that's something that I would like to know. That's something that I asked. Why would New York Times even start investigating this to begin with? Right? So, do I believe he raped these girls when they were young girls? Yes, I do. Now, I'm not saying he did do it. I'm saying I believe he did, which I could be wrong. And unfortunately, we're never going to find out. But I believe he did, because everything that they said once I came out and I shared my story, right, and I started studying more on child molestation and all that, the few little details that they gave, which wasn't much, okay, it wasn't much. We don't have evidence like that, but it wasn't much. The few little details on the way he spoke to them, the fact that it happened over and over and for how long a period of time. Usually dudes like that don't go getting 9, 10, 11, 12 different girls. Usually they stick with 2 or 3 and it just continues for the most part, okay. And just the things that those ladies said, that he said to them, like, hey, don't go telling anybody else because they'll get jealous, almost making it seem like, hey, it's a privilege of what happened to you. We shared each other's bodies with each other. Don't go telling the other girls. All that stuff made sense. Studying child molestation, it made sense to me. So that's very, very little information to go on, but that's pretty much all we have. So for that reason, I do believe, and it's said there that, hey, it was documented. They went ahead and they came out and they said it, but they all kept it within the organization. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. And in this day and age, anybody could whip up any documents, man, and say like, hey, this is from many years ago. So again, dog, it can be all over the place. But do I think he did do that to those girls? Yes, I do. Like I said, just to make it clear, I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying, if I had to make the best educational guess that I can with the very, very, very little evidence and knowledge that there is out there, which is pretty much none, I would say, yeah, I think he did. Now, Dolores Huerta, on the other hand, do I believe her story? No. No, I don't believe her story. Not only do I not believe her story, I think she was part of the cover-up. For the little information, for the little evidence that I used for the ladies that came out and said that he sexually raped them when they were little girls, I'm using the exact little small evidence, which again, there's none, to make this decision on Dolores. She came out because these women came out. She was interviewed and she was asked directly, were you raped? And she kind of left it up in the air like, you can consider it. Looking at so many pictures and seeing the way she's looking at him, I do believe they had sexual relations with one another. That I do believe. I do believe they were hooking up. Yes. I don't think it was against her will. Seeing it in her eyes, the way she was looking at him in so many different pictures, different footage out there. Now, okay. There are rumors out there from, people that I respect and people that I believe, okay, that she used to sleep around. Okay, whether that's true or not, I got no idea. Now, the fact that some hyena sleeps around, does that mean that she cannot be raped? No, of course not. Of course. Married, divorced, plenty of times, sleeping around with, the whole neighborhood and everything. That doesn't mean that you can't get raped. It says something about your character. And people will, kind of second guess it. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that she couldn't be raped. Her hooking up in a long-term relationship with Chavez's brother and having kids with them and everything like that, and just the look in her eyes and just that interview, it just nah, dog. I didn't see that in her. I could be wrong. And the fact that he raped her 2 times, just twice, in a span of, 6 years? Yeah, dog, you know what, man? Again, studying all this stuff, it just, that doesn't add up. But again, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. So Do I believe he raped these young girls when they're little girls? Yeah, I do. And one of the biggest questions I got with that is, where were these young girls' parents? How is it that this man had access to have that much time alone with these 12, 13-year-olds where he can go ahead and do that? Where's the parents? Where's dad at? Spare me this. Oh, man, you know what? It was part of a movement, dog. How is your 12, 13-year-old girl alone with a grown man that many times? Where you at, Dad? So, yeah, I do think he did that to those ladies when they were little girls. I do believe that. I may be wrong. And no, I don't believe Dolores. I think she was part of the cover-up. And the last thing I want to bring up when it comes to this, right? For the people that hate Cesar Chavez, forget about the sexual accusations. Forget about all that, okay? The people that hate him because he used to turn wetback and because he used to, beat up the Mexicanos and do all that stuff, man. Why does Dolores get a pass? I'm telling you guys right now, do I care about any of that? No, I don't. I'm not talking about the sexual assault stuff. That's the serious stuff, okay? But before all that, that's why, when I was learning about him a little bit and, oh, man, you know what? He used to turn wetback and he used to beat up all these dudes and kick them out and everything like that. To me, honestly, I was just like, whatever, dog. Whatever, right? But for the people that feel strongly against him for doing all that, Dolores was part of that movement. Why does she get a pass? That's the part that I'm scratching my head like, wait a second. She was his right-hand woman. She was there. Why does she get a pass? If you hate what Cesar Chavez was doing, beating up all the Mexicanos, all the paisas and everything like that, calling them wetbacks and everything, okay, she was there. She was part of that movement. Why does she get a pass in your book? And it's like, oh, well, you know what? Not him, because the movement was bigger. You know what? Let's talk about all the people that were involved. Well, who were the dudes jumping in the pickup trucks going to beat these dudes down? It wasn't just him doing it. It was guys from the movement, and she was there. But that's getting off topic, Holmes. Anyway, I just thought I'd go ahead and give my thoughts, man. Again, I have no... Growing up, man, I did not know who this dude was. He was in no existence in my life. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm probably just the only one that's willing to admit it. People are going to act like they knew all about him and everything. And I'm sure some people really, truly did. I'm sure people really, truly did. But in the 80s, 90s, me growing up in different cities all over SoCal, man, and in the East LA area especially, and Montebello, I never heard his name. I never heard anybody speak about him. I never heard about the movement. Nothing, Nathan, nada. Just didn't exist. But anyway, with all that, the guy's been dead for over 3 decades, so I'm not even really sure. I'm not even really sure what justice really is. Just take his name away from all the schools, the streets, and everything like that, paint over his murals, which, there's people that are thinking that it's a conspiracy theory to, bring him down, even though he's dead, because as soon as this story came out, dog, it was within a snap of a finger, they were already painting over murals. That was pretty damn fast. But for the ones that are saying like, hey, let's see what evidence comes out, that was many decades ago. I don't think we're getting any evidence. In my opinion, this is always going to remain, he said, she said. This is always just going to be, nebulous. So, with all that, that's my thoughts about it. Do I believe the girls that they were raped when they were little girls? Yes, because of the way they explained it. Everything he said, for how long it happened, that adds up. Could it be that they just studied that and made it up? Yeah, it can be. I don't think so, but we'll never know. Do I believe Dolores? No, I don't. I think she was part of the cover-up. And I'm not sure why she gets a pass for the people that are mad at Cesar Chavez before the sexual allegations that he used to hate on the Mexicanos, that he used to go out there, beat them up, and call wetbacks and everything. And she was right there, part of the movement. I don't know why she gets the pass. But anyway, that's my thoughts about it, man. What's your guys' thoughts about it? And in reality, you know, we're never going to know. We're never going to know. It's just always going to be what people think and believe, because we're never going to know the truth. As always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings. Always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you live. But loyalty makes family. Till next time, this is Ed the Troll Trucker. Over and out.